All right, let's jump right in. We're about to connect the dots between a major diplomatic award in Africa, a historic liberation in India, and a real game-changing piece of tech from Google. Let's break down the key events for the week ending December 19th, 2025.
It's fascinating how a single week can pull us in two directions at once, looking back to honor our past and rocketing forward with new technology. We're going to break down how these seemingly disconnected events are all shaping the world we live in right now. So let's kick things off in Africa, where a pretty significant award is telling a much bigger story about India's growing influence on the world stage.
Okay, so what you're looking at here is Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Ethiopia, receiving this really prestigious award from Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed Ali. Now, this is way more than just a photo op. It's a moment packed with diplomatic meaning. The award is called the Great Honor of the Nishan of Ethiopia. It is quite literally the nation's highest civilian honor. It's reserved for leaders who've made just an extraordinary impact on international relations. And get this, what makes this a truly historic moment is that Prime Minister Modi is the first global leader ever to receive it. But, it wasn't just about the award. That was really just the starting point. This visit also locked in the partnership, with 3 major new agreements that are really going to shape the relationship going forward.
So what's the big picture here? Well, this whole visit really cements India's growing diplomatic footprint in a very, very strategic part of the world. The Horn of Africa is a crucial region, and these agreements show a clear plan to build much stronger ties. So at the same time India is making these moves abroad, back home, there was a real focus on looking inward, honoring the heroes who have shaped both its past and its present.
And believe it or not, on the very same day, December 16th, which is also celebrated as Vijay Diwas, or Victory Day, President Draupadi Murmu was unveiling something incredibly special, the Param Veer Gallery. This gallery, right inside the presidential residence, it's a really powerful tribute to India's highest military honor. It immortalizes all 21 recipients of the Param Veer Chakra, making sure their incredible stories of bravery and sacrifice are never, ever forgotten. Okay, so we've talked about modern heroes. But now let's shift gears and look at a huge moment from India's past. Goa Liberation Day, on December 19th, marks the end of a colonial rule that lasted for 451 years. Just think about that number for a second. And this timeline, it really puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? Portuguese rule starts way back in 1510. And even after India's independence in 1947, Goa was still a colony. It wasn't until Operation Vijay in 1961 that the region was finally liberated, ending a colonial presence that spanned more than 4.5 centuries. All right, so we've gone from history to the here and now, actually to the future. Let's talk finance and tech, because this week delivered some announcements that are absolutely reshaping how people in India spend and save their money.
Let me ask you something. We all know how fast payments are changing, but what does it really look like when a credit card is born digital? When it's not a plastic card first, but an app first?
Well, this week, we got a pretty huge answer to that question. Google launched its first ever credit card, anywhere in the world, and they picked India to do it. It's called Flex by Google Pay. So why is this such a big deal? Well, first, it's a global first for Google, made possible through a partnership with Axis Bank and built on India's own RuPay network. But here's the real kicker, the thing that changes everything. It's totally integrated with Google Pay, which means you can make credit payments directly through UPI. This just completely blurs the line between a credit card and your digital wallet. And it's not just about how we spend money, but also how we save it for the long haul. India's pension regulator just announced some major reforms to the national pension system, the NPS. This change gives private sector subscribers way more flexibility, letting them pull out up to 80% of their retirement money as a lump sum. That's a huge shift in control over their own savings, while the old 60-40 split stays in place for government employees. Okay, for our last stop this week, let's fly over to South America. We're talking about Chile, where a really decisive presidential election is pointing to a major political shift for the whole country. So in Chile, the results are in, and it's a decisive win for José Antonio Cast. He ran on a platform that really emphasized law and order and more conservative social values, and he ended up with just over 58% of the vote. His opponent, Jeanette Jara, from the left wing, got about 42%. And that's not a small margin, right? That's a comfortable win. And it's why pretty much everyone agrees this isn't just a simple change in leadership. It signals a much deeper ideological shift for the entire country. So let's pull it all together. What a week, huh?
we've seen India making strategic moves on the world stage while also taking time to honor its own history. Meanwhile, new tech is totally changing its financial landscape. And then you have a big political shift in Chile that reminds you just how quickly things can change anywhere in the world.
It kind of leaves you wondering, doesn't it? We're living in this world that's speeding into the future with new tech, but at the same time, we're looking over our shoulder to honor where we came from. So the big question is, which one of these powerful forces is going to write the headlines of tomorrow? Thanks for joining us.